But I want to go back to you versus your guy in foundations and me. What we're talking about is capacity. And that just is, capacity just means that it's a fancy word for what you're capable of doing.
What can you do?
What can
What do you got?
do within the realm of your function?
Right.
You know, and when we were talking about the deadlift, I was thinking about a class that I had recently where we were deadlifting, and it was every 2 minutes, do 2 deadlifts, ascending weight. Didn't say PR, didn't say any of that, and I had one person in the room whose focus was mechanics. That's where this athlete was. She really needed to focus on mechanics. So her weight stayed light. We never raised her weights because it wasn't appropriate for her, and we went the whole 2 minutes like that. And then we had Anthony in the back, who he's got form, he's got the function, you know, he can do this, he's trained it a lot, he's very good at it, and he's got the capacity, who did end up PRing that day, and it surprised the heck out of him. He didn't expect to, he wasn't trying to. The weight just felt really good, so we went by the way it felt. So there's no good and bad result. It's only the result that is within your capacity and your function.
Absolutely, and that can change on the daily.
Right.
Anthony had a great day that day. He was feeling good. He might have been well rested. His core was ready. Whatever those things were that day, he was able to come in and attack and give all of his focus and attention on his movement, how he was feeling. He attacked that day. He wasn't chasing a number.
Right.
Wasn't trying to PR. What he really wasn't doing, Kim, he wasn't competing.
He wasn't competing.
He was training. He was training. And his training felt good that day.
Right.
And when training is good,
the numbers
go
up.
for it.
Yeah.
Go for it, you know. Let those things happen.
That was a number within his capacity that day.
Right. And all it was is now we know Anthony's capacity
stronger.
Has gone up.
It's gone up.
He's stronger.
Right. Let's talk about how training function or form, technique, whatever it is we want to call it. We call it all the things.
Right.
But practicing, you know, first we have to learn a movement, and that's what I would say the young lady was. She was learning the movement and practicing what she had learned. Today she came back with deadlifting. She looked fabulous, so I'm really proud of her because she practiced, and now she looks great, and now her weights can go up.
Right.
Shit, I lost my train of thought.
It's okay.
Oh, what this does for us, you know, first we learn the movement, and then we practice the movement, and then when we practice it and it becomes consistent, then we can add some speed to the movement. That's adding speed and weight. It's still not competing.
Right.
It's just training the movement to go faster and stay clean under a little more of a challenge. It's still not competition.
Absolutely.
And let's talk about competition, because you've got a comp coming up. You've just done a try. You've done some things.
I've done some things. So my philosophy with that is, so I look at all my training days, and I could try to do this for the gym too. We look at all the days that we have to work out. And you know, I have so many days within a month to train. Let's say if I'm training 5 days a week, 4 days a week, I get 20 training days a month. I want to practice about 45% of those training days, and then I want to train 45% of those days, and that leaves 10% left, and that's my competition. So I have 45% practice, 45% training, and then 10% is me competing. So leading up to the triathlon, lots of swimming practice. If you've heard me talk about it, I was concerned about that, so I was just practicing that left and right, really not adding a lot of intensity because my form isn't good for intensity yet. So I was practicing technique left and right. And the days that I trained it was with Ryan. We would go out in the morning, the day, you know, a couple days before the event, and I would go. I would see what I had. For this CrossFit competition I have coming up, you know, me and Corey know that we're gonna have to do some heavy Olympic weightlifting. So I'm doing lots of just barbell work, lots of snatch. I know I'll be doing the snatch, so I'm doing rep after rep after rep after rep, keeping it, my body, not, my heart rate's low, I'm focused, I know exactly what I'm trying to do, and if I don't do that, I make sure I pull the curtain back and fix whatever faults are. And then I also start going into a training session. So I'm practicing the movement a lot before I start adding any sort of weight to that movement. So it's all within the same session too. We're practicing and training in the same days.
I think it's important for you or for us to communicate and for everybody to understand that with practice, skill improves, right?
Tenfold.
It's skill that we're trying to get a skill. We're trying to make a skill consistent. But even though, like today with the girls in the weightlifting room, just because they weren't increasing the weights heavily, they weren't pounding heavy weight,
Right.
they're going to lift heavier weight. Gaining that skill and
Right.
practicing that movement is going to make them stronger.
Absolutely.
Not only in that, but in other things as well. And I got to give a shout out to Maria Alvarez, who all of a sudden could do a handstand push-up. Surprise! Well, that didn't come out of anywhere.
Right.
It came out of her practice and training other things.
Right.
And so whatever you spend your focus time on, Mary Nolan is a huge example of this. She wants a muscle up. We're practicing and practicing and practicing. We're practicing basic skills of other things. We don't even work on muscle up that much. We do a little transition stuff, but we're practicing pulling and pushing. And what she's finding is her front squat went up. Surprise! She's got these handstand, she did a kipping handstand push-up for the first time the other day. She's got big eyes like, holy moly, look what I can do. All she did was focus on some basic things, and
Right.
then everything shoots up from there.
Our body's not that complicated.
It's really not.
It's really not. The longer you start to do this, you realize that these movements, they flow into one another,
Right.
left and right. And even though we're training one thing one day, that's going to affect this next
Everything.
thing, the next
Right.
thing. And it's completely uncorrelated.
Right.
Clean and jerks is going to make your handstand push-up better.
Right.
It's going
Right.
to happen. Pull-ups is going to make your strict press better.
Right, and your kettlebell swings, and
swings.
vice versa.
Everything.
It's everything is
Yeah.
there. What's good for one piece is good for the whole.
Right.